All right, let's move on. The Gauteng department says that it has no knowledge of two people who tested positive for COVID-19 in Alexandra, north of Johannesburg. This after residents alerted officials on social media of a woman who was collected from her house by emergency services. For a little bit more on this, let's cross now to our reporter Nozintombi Mia, who's been there covering stories for us. Nozintombi, thanks so much indeed for joining us again. What can you tell us about this story in particular?
Well, thank you so much, Peter. As you can see, the visuals that we're bringing to you right now is a wide overview of the Stwetla township in Alex. And this really is the hotbed of where the two alleged cases have come from. And really, just for safety concerns, what we're going to be doing for this particular crossing, we're going to be driving down the main road through Stwetla as we continue with our conversation. And, as you can see with the visuals as we're driving down Stwetla, we spoke to some of the taxi drivers who deal with the local taxis and ferry people to and from in particularly this location. And they're saying that they're extremely concerned because they heard 2 days ago about an incident where one man in particular tested positive. And today's confirmation of a woman who was removed by health authorities and health officials is the second confirmation of this particular issue. And as you can see with the taxi driver that's driving right past us now, their concern is that they don't have masks, they don't have gloves, they don't have any safety kits to be able to protect them as they ferry passengers to and from, especially in this particular part of Stwetla, where there has been, according to social media, 2 people who were removed and tested positive for this particular illness. And as we came up the road here, we also spoke to some of the residents, some of the neighbors here, and they told us that they saw a heightened police presence earlier today, and this made them come up to the houses to do further investigation. And upon investigation, that's where they heard that, the health officials had come in with the marked cars with police to come and particularly collect this lady who apparently had been in contact with her employer, and this is how she got the COVID. So it really has heightened concerns. It's heightened the issue around the anger and the helplessness that people are feeling in this particular neighborhood. And the biggest concern here in Stwetla is that it's one of those townships that's extremely densely populated, and the confirmation of 2 cases of people who've tested positive for COVID has heightened the concern. It's heightened the issue of contact between particular neighbors, because at the moment what the residents are saying is that they're not quite sure which area of Stwetla the 2 people come from. So it's creating even further distrust of people in this particular neighborhood who feel that the police and health officials are not taking care of them, they're not taking care of their concerns. And as you can see, Peter, as we are driving further down, you can see the heightened presence of the army because of what's happened. You can see that the army is here, it is talking to people, it's trying to get people to go back and move into their houses because of this particular cases that's happened. And earlier when we were past the mall, because our earlier crossing was in one of the malls, we know that the army was there, and it was speaking to people and trying to understand from people why it is that they were still in and around this area, instead of making sure that they were in their houses and trying to make sure that they maintained social distancing, Peter.
So, Nozintombi, just to be clear with this particular story, it is believed that 2 people tested positive. The authorities say that they have no knowledge of this. So, at this stage, what can we say? Are there 2 people that are positive, or is this just speculation still?
You know, Peter, this really, feeds into the issue about fake news. But what we are seeing on the ground, the heightened presence by the army, by the police, does lend credence to what the community members here are saying, that they have seen the police, they have actually seen the health authorities come here and speak to the people and try and ensure that people are safe, especially after the one lady was taken by health officials and health authorities to a place of safety. So it does lend credence to it, but we obviously must wait for the official word from the Gauteng Health Department to ensure that we get the correct information. But as it stands now here, the situation here in Stwetla is extremely tense, with the army and the people trying to ensure that the correct information is distributed and that people are kept in their houses for their own safety. Peter.
All right, and I know that you're driving around at the moment, and I'm just wondering, from what you're seeing, is there better compliance today in terms of people staying off the streets? What have you seen?
You know, Peter, when we spoke to some of the residents earlier, they claimed that they had been in their houses for the better part of the day. But what we are seeing on the ground is that there is still a very low level of compliance, and people are still not maintaining social distance. We've seen people sitting in groups together here in this particular neighborhood. We've seen people walking around without masks, without gloves, and not adhering to just the basic principles of hygiene that needs to happen here. And it's really, it lends further concern to the issue if we're hearing reports of 2 people that have tested positive for the COVID virus here at the Stwetla informal settlement, that the people in the informal settlement who've heard these stories are still not complying with what health and hygiene standards need to be with social distancing issues. So that really is quite a concern from what we have seen. There needs to be greater compliance in this particular part of Alex, and we do need to see authorities encouraging people to become more compliant with social distancing cues and ensuring that they follow the correct hygiene methods that they're supposed to follow.
All right, Nozintombi, we're going to leave it there. Thanks so much indeed for that update. So as you can hear, fear in Alexandra that 2 people may have tested positive, but again, no confirmation from the authorities.